Hey, hello everybody. Andrew here. Top Fitness Strategies presents, and we got a good one coming up today. This is going to be fun, and you're going to see a resemblance between us when one of my guests comes on. But before we get started, as usual, we have sponsors, and this week's sponsors is the 102 at-home common sense health and fitness tips. And I'm going to put the link up as we go along. This is an ebook that I wrote. Let me put this up here. That is just like that. It's 102 tips at home, common sense, health, and fitness tips. This is not something that a book where I'm just going to show you how to do workouts. It's more to it than that. It's health and fitness stuff, all kinds of stuff. A lot of the stuff that I have is video presentations. For instance, you're going to see me vacuuming the floor. You're going to see me attempting to do jump ropes. That's a treat in itself right there. So go ahead and click on the link. Let me get it over here for my Facebook page as well. Make sure we link to that coming over here, and we'll get going. Also, if you're listening to this, thank you very much for being here for the podcast. And you probably already know I have other podcasts going on. So it's topfitnessstrategies.com/podcast. So, all right, here, let me get this thing going. We got this, we got that. Okay, so I want to introduce my guest this evening from Fast Fit Body Sculpting. I know I'm going to butcher that as we go along, so it's a tongue twister for me. And his name is Doug Zucco. Yes, he's another Italian, just like myself. Yes, we're both bald-headed, so there's a resemblance there. We are not related, unfortunately, because Doug's a great guy. I would love to call him my brother in spirit, my brother in health and fitness. So welcome to Top Fitness Strategies presents Doug.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Good evening, good day. We're in different parts of the country. I'm in Indiana, and Doug, if I recall, you're in Vegas.
Las Vegas, absolutely.
Okay, yeah. 3 hours apart, so sometimes getting times going back and forth is a little bit hectic, but we got it, so it's great. So I usually ask for a bio with everybody so I can read it, but I wanted to do this one a little bit different. I want everything to be organic on this interview, and I like to start off, Doug, by saying, letting the listeners and watchers know how I ran into you. So the people that follow me know I like to peruse different parts of the internet looking for unique and interesting guests. So one of the things that I do is I go to YouTube and I put in some search and I start finding people that way. And then I go to their contacts or their friends or whatever it's called on YouTube, and then so on and so forth. And I keep digging farther and farther and see who's unique and see who's fun. I mean, I don't really recall how I got to you, but once I got to your YouTube page, I started looking at all the testimonials, all the stuff going on there. I went to your website. I'm like, holy moly, I got to contact this guy. So the thing is, Fast Fit Body Sculpting without surgery. So Doug, first of all, tell us what that is. Tell me about yourself, and start off however you want to start off with this.
Well, you gave me a lot to talk about, right? So anyway, Fast Fit Body Sculpting. What we do, we're not a gym, we're not an exercise club or anything like that. We use light technology to shrink fat and detoxify the body. And here's what it comes down to. If you want to look your best on the outside, you have to look your best on the inside. And light technology is a game changer. It's like turning back the clock. It makes the impossible very possible. So it's pretty cool what we do.
Okay, when you say that, make the impossible look possible. What do you mean by the impossible?
Well, as you know, when you go to the gym and you look around, everybody doesn't look perfect. And we wonder why. I mean, seriously, I've seen people in the gym for years, 3-5 years, that work out very hard. They're covered in sweat, male or female. I've seen both, covered in sweat every day, but they just don't look like they want to look. They have that stubborn fat in certain areas, or maybe that tummy they're trying to get rid of, or that you would think if you spend enough time in the gym and you ate right, we'd all look pretty darn near perfect. But
right.
That's not the case. and what it comes down to is aging. And as we age, it's easier. I won't say always, but it's easier when we're in our 20s. When we're in our teens and 20s, it's pretty easy to shred that fat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, because I hear it all the time because people that see me see, okay, well, I'm bigger in stature than the average guy, and I'm not saying that in a bragging thing or not bragging thing. I'm just saying that because it's true. I am bigger. I am bulkier. I am fluffier, for lack of a better term, if you will. But people say, well, you work out all the time. How come you don't look more shredded or more cut or something? And my answer is because my diet pretty much sucks. I'll be honest with you. But there's more to it than that. It's not just a bad diet, even though it's a lot of it. There's more to it than that, I would assume. So, and that's where you come into place, is because you are basically, from what we talked the other day, in the same situation as me. You worked out quite a bit, like you were just talking about, but you didn't have the look that you wanted. Is that right?
Absolutely. And what it comes down to, there's two types of fat on the body. And I have a little help from Richard here. If he can put that on the screen, that'd be great. We have subcutaneous fat under the skin, and then
Okay.
we have visceral fat, which is under the muscle. So the subcutaneous fat under the skin, we can pinch. That's what you grab a hold of your love handle and you can pinch an inch. That's subcutaneous fat. And that's easier to lose. But visceral fat is the fat that men and women have that they don't realize they have. It's very hard. It's under the muscle, so it's not squishy at all. And people just don't know they have it, but it ruins our shape. It takes away that nice hourglass shape on women
Mhm.
and makes them either straight up and down or bulge in the middle. And the same with men. Men don't realize it, but the reason they get that roll right at their belt line is because they wear a belt. And that's what constricts the fat. And then the fat flow starts over the belt. So that's how men lose their shape, is because we wear that belt and we have that deep visceral fat.
Okay, all right. So one of the question that comes to my mind right away. Okay, you got the visceral fat and the other one. I already forgot the term for it.
Subcutaneous.
Okay, I can't even say that word, so I'm not gonna try it. So all these years, I've been a gym rat. You talked the other day. You were a gym rat as well, and I say that in a loving way. As you know, we all were there. We know it. So how come people don't talk about these two kinds of different fats, if you will? Why is it all of a sudden I stumble upon your stuff and you start talking about it like it's common knowledge, and it's not, and you know that. I'm just saying that because you're used to saying it all the time. It's not common knowledge. So how did you find this out, and what did you find, and how did you determine what was the different kinds of fats?
Well, that's a story in itself, because I found out the hard way.
Okay.
I was the guy. I owned a gym. I lifted in my teens. In 1980, I started. Actually, 79. I started my own gym, and I've been in different phases of different businesses. But I was even in the medical field for 10 years. I owned an MRI facility. We did all types of diagnostic imaging. But October 2nd of 14, I left the gym. At that time, I was gluten-free for about 5 years. I was working out at least once a day. Most days I did 2 workouts.
Mhm.
So I left the gym at 9 o'clock on October 2nd of 14, and bang, I got hit with a heart attack, and it was 100% blockage, the widowmaker that usually kills people.
Oh, wow.
And I was very fortunate to make it to the hospital. It's a long story. I won't go into all that. But
Okay.
I woke up in the recovery room, and the doctor was, telling me how lucky I was, but on the other hand, telling me how bad my life, how much my life was going to change for not the good way. So I was very scared, very frustrated, because I was thinking, why me? I don't smoke, I don't drink, I
Mhm.
eat right, I'm working out all the time. Why not the person that's, 40, 50 pounds overweight and smokes and drinks? And the answer is visceral fat. And that's the fat that we showed that's under the muscle. When we have abundance and excess of visceral fat, and then low subcutaneous fat, we're much higher risk for heart attack. The Mayo Clinic, um, Harvard Medical School, they both have articles that agree with this, that visceral fat, the stubborn under the muscle belly fat, puts you at high risk of all types of cancer, heart attack, stroke, even diabetes, high blood pressure, even anxiety and depression. I mean, there's so much inflammation that gets manufactured by this visceral fat that it works as an organ against our body, against our health. So when we have that visceral fat, we're basically a ticking time bomb for something to happen.
Okay. So this visceral fat, is it all over the body? Is it just in the tummy area?
It's in the abdominal region, in the rib cage. So
Okay.
it sits on the pelvis, on the pelvic floor, and it gets all intermingled with your intestines. It can get, on your liver, inside of your liver, all over all of your organs, including your heart. And I think we have there's a diagram right there of a healthy liver that's nice and red and looks fine. And then that fatty liver. And there's a very high percentage of Americans that have fatty liver. And it would blow your mind because some people that consider themselves very, very, very healthy have fatty liver. And I was one of those.
Wow. So if can all right, I don't even know how to phrase this, but can this visceral fat be treated by, treat is not the right word. Can it be slowed down, or can it be stopped by a clean diet at an earlier age, or how does this visceral fat attach itself to the body? What is different between this fat and the other fat that how it within the foods we eat? I would assume. Is there main foods that produces visceral fat?
Well, there's many reasons, and overeating, alcohol, different type of drugs, even prescription drugs, even over-the-counter painkillers like Advil, things like that. So there's a lot of different reasons. Okay. But the problem is once we have the visceral fat, have an excess of it, obviously diet and exercise wasn't doing any good trying to get rid of it because I couldn't reduce mine. So that's what put me in search. And that's what I was so afraid. I was scared to death because I worked out all the time and I'm in this, my health has just slipped away. So what am I going to do? So I reached out to a lot of people that I knew, and I got a hold of one doctor in state of California, and he told me about what he was doing. So I tried it on myself. I guess I was my first client, the guinea pig, right? It worked on me. So created a business.
Well, fantastic. And I'm talking with Doug Zucco, the owner of Fast Fit Body Sculpting Without Surgery. And this is a great transition, what you just said. Okay, so we talked about what the visceral fat was. We talked about you went in search of something and you found a doctor. So can you tell us what this something that you found is?
Well, what I realized, and this is what I've seen today, I've never seen any cases to the contrary, although, there's always anomalies in life. There's always that 1% of the population, right? But I've never seen anyone reduce visceral fat on their own over the age of 35. I've seen it in young people, but I've never seen it happen in older people. And when I say older, I'm talking about 35 up. Okay. And 35 is an arbitrary number somewhere around there. Could be 35, could be 40, could be 30.
Right. Okay. So from what I gather from talking with you last week and your website, this is more of and I know I'm going to say this wrong, but it's more of like a shining light onto fat. But obviously there's a lot more to it than I'm really simplifying that and making it really sound really simple. But obviously there's a lot of technology that goes into this. But can you give us the Reader's Digest version of what it actually is, or if you're allowed to?
Yeah, absolutely. It's more. Yes, the light's very important, but it's just as much frequency of the light, because what that frequency does, our bodies, we have to admit, right, that our bodies are electric. The smallest particles of our body are atoms with electrons, protons. We are electric. There's even smaller particles that cause vibration. So we absolutely have, our mitochondria of our cells is the generation of energy for our body. And when we're very young, that's great. It's very vibrant. But as we age, hey, that slows down a little bit. We lose a little bit of that vibration. So what the light actually does, it's the generator. It's the battery charger that rejuvenates the cell, helps build the mitochondria. It actually can affect the fat receptors, the receptors on the fat cells, put it that way, and reactivate them, because they will go dormant as we get older and as we become unhealthy. So it basically just turns back the clock, brings the body back to a very functional state, and makes things happen that would be just utterly impossible without it.
Okay. All right. Now, when we talked the other day about this, I mentioned something about, okay, there's going to be somebody that hears just a microcosm of what you're saying and says, well, if I shine a flashlight into my stomach, I'm going to lose weight. You and I both know, and me knowing nothing about what you do other than talking to you a little bit, that's just silly. You can't just shine a flashlight. There's a lot more to it. There's a lot more of the science behind that. And
absolutely. There's a lot of gyms that are having different types of red light machines, right? And let me tell you, you can stand behind your brake lights all day long and you're not going to lose any fat. I promise.
That's what I'll get to that question. There's the color of light that has that something to do with it, but it's, as you said the other day, there's some technology in the background that you are not at liberty to say because of patent stuff. And I don't want to get into all the technical stuff, but that's not the point of it. Obviously, the point is whatever this light technology, however it works. And you can see that by going to all the different testimonials on your page and talk to different people. And you were very open about that with me. You said, if you want to contact somebody, contact them and talk to them about it. You told me that. So, yeah, I'm not saying anything negative toward this whatsoever. So, but are you at liberty to say any kind of the technology behind it?
Yeah. Basically, it's red light technology, which consists of not only red light, but near infrared light. And there's many different frequencies, and I'm not going to talk about frequencies, but the proprietary blend of frequencies, what we use. Basically, I'm the first person that I know of that put LED lights into a bed. Okay, I didn't invent LED lights, of course, but I'm the first person to put them into a bed to use them for this purpose. Okay. Since then, there's been a lot of people come along, chasing it. Okay. But my business has evolved with results. I saw what worked, what didn't work, and we just kept evolving, getting better and better and better. And I change technology all the time, probably every 6 months. Okay. And people say, Doug, why do you do that? And I obviously do it because I want to get better and better and better at helping people get the results. Not only more results, but get the results faster. Okay,
great. We're talking once again with Doug Zucco from Fast Fit Body Sculpting Without Surgery. Okay, so with this light technology, and I hope I'm phrasing that correctly.
Yeah.
Right away, you said you're the first guy to put LED lights in a bed, and so right away I'm thinking, well, this is a lot like a tanning booth, a tanning bed. Is that? I mean, obviously it's not, but is that the mental picture people get?
Well, it looks exactly like a tanning bed because tanning bed frames are used because those are already available. We didn't have to reinvent the wheel. Okay. But the lights inside are totally different. There's no UV. This isn't for tanning. It will not give you a tan. Okay. But it will help the body in many, many ways. It helps not only with fat loss, but it helps with recovery. People that use lights often, use the technology often, will never get sore at the gym. So you'll never get those, that lactic acid build up in the legs and never have that soreness because the lights actually help alkalize the body and neutralize that lactic acid. Also, it's great for microcirculation. So you're getting more blood flow to the cell. It's phenomenal for the skin because it helps build collagen, helps your body build collagen. So you lose those fine lines, wrinkles. You will never see someone that lost fat properly through a device like I use and ever have folds or saggy skin or wrinkles or crepey skin. It's amazing what happens to the body, as it not only shrinks, but transform and people look much younger.
Okay. So I just thought of 20,000 more questions with that I don't even have written down here. So that's why I said I wanted this to be organic. That's what I like about it. So And me being a trainer, and you've owned in gyms, you've had people come up to you, especially ladies, that say they want to get rid of the fat down here. All right, we've had that. I know you've had that. I've had that. So what you just said, this light technology, it helps prevent that kind of sagging skin. Is that the kind of sagging skin that it helps prevent the I guess what do they call it, the bat flaps or something like that on ladies?
The bat wings.
Bat wings. Yeah.
Absolutely. But I'm going to give everyone a tip, okay?
Okay.
Because what happens when we have excess visceral fat, and you'll find ladies that weigh 135 pounds, especially older women, right? Very, very thin, but they have that just enough of that visceral fat to give a little bulge in the tummy. And then once they have the visceral fat, what it causes the body to do is store subcutaneous fat and not release it. So what happens, we get little fatty deposits on parts of our body. And, especially women will say, because men usually get it one place, it's usually right in the belly. But women, it's all over. It could be the chin and neck. It could be the behind the bra. It could be the bat wings. It could be the hips and thighs. And what I found out, when you help someone reduce the visceral fat, the subcutaneous fat will shrink very rapidly. So that's the key. People are chasing their tail, I think, in the fat loss industry because they're trying to spot reduce. When you reduce that visceral fat, the whole body gets healthy and shrinks to a very, very healthy and attractive
Interesting. So I know this question comes up right away. So are there any risks involved with this?
Absolutely not. That's the really cool thing, is there is absolutely no contrast. So when you take everything else, every other, whether it's surgery where they remove fat or any other procedure out there, whether it's lasers, and there's a big difference between what I do and lasers, because lasers actually kill fat cells, and you don't want to do that. And I can explain why. But all those other procedures, whether it's freezing, whether it's ultrasound, kill fat cells. So when you start killing off fat cells, first of all, you'll never get to the visceral fat. You can only kill subcutaneous fat because it's under the skin. So all of those procedures cannot address visceral fat. You'll never address that problem. So what happens is when you start killing off the body's favorite storage areas in the subcutaneous fat, it will pick new spots. And a lot of times that's not very pretty. You get fat deposits in weird places, but also it leads to storing more visceral fat. And what people don't realize, when you kill fat cells, that's where your body stores stem cells. So as you kill fat cells, you're killing stem cells. Not a good idea. So there's a lot of side effects to the other things.
Okay.
But as far as FastFit and our technology, there's absolutely no side effects. It's beneficial to everybody, every part of the body. And that's why I put it in a bed, because the device that I first bought was very generic. And then we upgraded to the best that money could buy, a device that was about as big as a cookie pan. And it was a great device, but it only did a very fractional part of your body, very small part. And you had to spend, if you wanted to do the whole body, you'd be there for hours. Well, nobody has time to be there for hours. So that's why I wanted to benefit everything, every part of the body, the skin. I mean, there's even theories that when you're shining the certain frequency of light on the shin bones, that it helps the bones produce stem cells. So there's a lot of really good theories and studies with the lights.
Interesting. So, okay. So how do I want to phrase this? All right. So somebody comes to you, I come to you. Now I live in Indiana. You live in Vegas. I'm going to assume that I just can't schedule something and say, "Hey, Doug, I'm going to be there tomorrow at noon. I want to spend 5 hours in the bed, and I'm going to come out and I'm going to, look like James Bond coming out of the ocean in a swimsuit body." It's not going to happen that way, is it?
Well, I wish it was, right? Although I have locations in Virginia Beach, in different areas around the Hampton Roads area in Virginia, South Carolina, and Georgia. And I actually had a lady that traveled from Columbus, Ohio to Virginia Beach, and she got phenomenal results, but it took many flights, right? And I don't recommend that. So one thing that we're doing is I'm starting to sell the technology, and it can be for home use. It can be for, if somebody wants to do a center. So I'm also selling my proprietary technology. So if people are interested in that, they can contact me and we can talk about that.
Okay. Yeah. And I put your contact information earlier on there, and I'll put it again here in a little bit. And for those watching, we're talking with Doug Zucco, the owner of Fast Fit Body Sculpting Without Surgery. Okay. So you keep talking about these sessions. So how many sessions does a person have to go through or take or do, or whatever the proper term is, for them to start seeing results?
They usually see results in about the first 30 days. So, do 2 sessions a week for 4 weeks. And sometimes it's very rapid. Sometimes people see results right off the bat, but on average, it usually takes about 30 days for people to start seeing really good results. And then after that, I've seen bodies transform in 90 days. Okay. And you got to realize that it takes 90 days of changing eating habits, things like that, you can basically rebuild your liver in 90 days. That's how long it takes for the body to interchange all the cells in the liver. So with that being said, in 90 days, we can get phenomenal results.
Okay. All right. So that leads perfectly into my next question. All right. So you say it takes 90 days, 2 sessions a week. First of all, how long is each session?
Usually about 40 minutes. We use three different technologies there for 40 minutes. And it's not 90 days for everyone. I just want to let you know. I mean, basically in a few weeks, people start seeing results.
Gotcha.
But if you take someone that's very much overweight and they want to look their best again, 90 days is a good number.
Okay. Now, should a person still exercise, or can they be on a workout program as they're going through this?
Oh, absolutely. They can do whatever they like, but it does take motion to be able to metabolize the fat cells. So let me explain.
Please.
I didn't do that. So when someone comes in and they use the technology, as soon as they get off the technology, their body is now has the ability to burn fat, to metabolize fat like they were young again. So it takes motion. We need some sort of motion to metabolize and burn that fat. So here's what I suggest, and this works the best for everybody. Just go for a long walk. And the word long is different for different people. If someone's in very, very good shape, go out and walk for an hour and a half. If somebody barely can walk, well, give me 10 minutes and we'll work from there.
Right.
And even with people that have a physical disability, they can't walk, we figured out ways that we could help them lose fat. Yeah. So it takes motion. So I absolutely do. What's the word I'm looking for? I want people to exercise, right?
Okay. Encourage, recommend. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But it doesn't. I want people to know this doesn't have to be crazy. We don't have to go and do some crazy workout to lose fat. We just need to go for a nice walk. Keep your heart rate about 65% of what your max heart rate is, and which is not very hard to do, and we can have tremendous results.
Okay. Oh wow, this has been great, and I know I only asked for about 30 minutes of your time, and I'm sure you and we can talk long about this. So now you alluded to a second ago that you're have 2 locations in Vegas and Virginia Beach. Now, are you planning on open up any others?
Yeah, we actually have 11 locations in 4 states right now. And we have 4 in Vegas. I have 4 in the Hampton Roads area, the Virginia Beach area, 2 in Savannah, Georgia, and 1 in South Carolina. And yes, actually, I'm looking to franchise, and probably going to do that very soon.
I was hoping you'd say Clinton, Indiana, which I shared. Okay, so people can contact you at fastfitbodysculpting.com, and I put a link in there as well. So how else can they contact you?
My email is doug@fast.fit, fast.fit, no .com, just fast.fit. Or call 1-800-FAST-FIT. And if you don't mind, if you have just a few seconds, I have a couple of before and afters I'll just put up so I can explain real quick.
Yeah, please.
So Richard will do that for us.
So
And
while he's doing that, I just put all your contact info. I put your website, your Facebook page, and your YouTube page. I just put them in the comments. So,
well, thank you. And this is Patricia, and Patricia was the person that came to FastFit out of desperation. She really was very emotional, and she just cried. She said, "Doug," she said, "it's not the money." She said, "Just don't tell me this will work if it won't work, because I can't I can't go through it.
mhm.
I can't do the disappointment." So anyway, this is Patricia, in about 90 days, made a phenomenal transformation. It took a little bit longer than that, but she lost a total of 80 pounds, 57 pounds of pure fat. And look at her figure, and look how the skin quality, and you see no sags or wrinkles.
Well, yeah, I'm looking at this, and no offense to anybody out there, but the picture on the left versus the picture on the right. Look, the picture on the right looks like it's a 25-year-old. And I
She
mean, I
really
don't know how
does.
old it is, and I'm not going to guess, but gee whiz,
She's 50. I think she's 52 now, but she was 51 when that was.
holy moly! So and that was after 90 days, you said?
Most of that 90 days. She came a little longer, but most of it happened in 90 days.
Oh my word!
And this is Kathy, and look at the difference. Sorry about the lighting and the problem, but what a huge difference. And this is a favorite of mine. Okay, I have to tell the story real quick.
Please.
But this is Kathy Adams. Okay, and Kathy came in, and Kathy was just a health wreck, right? Just in every way, a lot of problems, on a lot of medications, in a lot of pain, really couldn't even fathom the idea that she could go for a walk. She walked with a cane. And look at the difference in Kathy. What a dramatic difference after losing just about 30 pounds of pure fat. And look at her now.
Wow. This is awesome. And for those of you listening on the podcast, sorry, but we have visuals going on here, and you get the picture. If you can just visualize somebody that the before and after type shots, and these are phenomenal. What he's showing right here. So go on, Doug.
So, I mean, this works for athletes and works for people that just want to look better and trim up some fat. But I think FastFit is a bridge for the people that are too unhealthy to even think about exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's capable of doing anything. I mean, she's rip roaring. She's in her 70s, and she is amazing.
That's a 70-year-old. Wow. I was going to guess, early 60s. Wow. Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm very proud of her.
Yeah.
And this is Ron. And Ron, at one time, he was young, he was an athlete, and he forgot that he had abs. Because I'm going to tell you one thing about Ron. He didn't work out to the extreme at all, right? Okay. But look what happened. It is 24 pounds of pure fat, and under all that fat, he found some abs that he didn't.
Yep,
he forgot he had.
Wow.
And Ron's 65.
65. Wow. Incredible. And so I just want to make this clear. So these folks that you're showing me, they're not going to the gym for 4 hours a day doing this. I mean, obviously they're going to do some sort of workouts like you recommend, but this is mostly doing the sessions with the FastFit Body Sculpting. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And just going for a walk, whether it's a half hour, whether it's 45 minutes, whether it's an hour, but we absolutely need some movement to metabolize that fat.
Oh, wow. Okay. So what about yourself now? Because you say you were your first client. So tell us the results that you saw, if you don't mind, if you can.
Yeah, I'll give you my visceral fat results because I remember that. I'll never forget that, right? Okay. So my visceral fat, if you go by a Tanita, which I find is probably the most accurate body analysis out there. In when I had the Diagnostic Imaging Center, I used the DEXA scanner. And the DEXA scanner by far is the most accurate, but it uses radiation. So in FastFit, we're not going to use radiation. Okay. So we use a Tanita. And a Tanita states that shows for a man, if you have a score of a 12 in visceral fat, it goes by score, then you're at risk of heart attack, stroke, all of that. Well, mine was a 19. So no wonder I had a heart attack, right? So even though I had a six-pack on the outside, I had a bulging tummy. Okay. And now, it's a 10. I've cut that almost in half. So
Wow.
what a difference. And I think there's a before and after of me, maybe. There it is, right?
Oh my gosh. Look at you.
And the picture on the left in the white shirt, I'm telling you, I was working out. I was working out every day, a lot of times twice a day. But that belly wasn't going away.
Wow. That's a big difference. It doesn't even look like the same person.
It is.
And wow, that's just fascinating, Doug. So, man, I appreciate you sharing all that. So, once again, my guest is Doug Zucco with Fast Fit Body Sculpting Without Surgery. And Doug, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on here. You can contact Doug at fastfitbodysculpting.com. I put the links in there. Any parting words you'd like to say to anybody listening out there, Doug?
Listen, I know it's very frustrating. I know sometimes it just seems hopeless to get that figure you want, but you absolutely can. But we need to use technology. So think about that. And it's a game changer.
I appreciate it. Well, Doug, thanks for being here. And if, as usual, folks, if you are listening to this podcast, once the podcast comes out and you're driving or something, please don't write anything down. You can always contact me and I can get message over to Doug as well. If this is something that you're interested in, which especially if you're in his area, go for it. But you don't, and to make sure we're clear, do they have to be in your area to talk to you, first of all?
Actually, no, because I have equipment that we can sell, right? I also do some stuff online. So absolutely not. Wherever you're at, feel free to reach out to me and I'm here to help people.
Fantastic. All right. Well, Doug, I do appreciate it. Thanks for being here. And folks, thanks for being on Top Fitness Strategies Presents podcast. And we'll have another one coming up soon. So I'm going to sign off here. And Doug Zucco with Fast Fit Body Sculpting and Surgery. I have to say that slow, Doug, because I get tongue-tied saying that. That's why I have it real spelled out from right here. So once again, thanks for being my guest tonight.
Thank you for having me.
All right, folks. And so until next time, this is Andrew, Top Fitness Strategies Presents. We'll see you on the flip side. Ciao.